On Book TV's monthly call-in program, In Depth, former advisor to President Donald Trump, Sebastian Gorka, discussed his books and offered his thoughts on politics and national security. Here's a portion of the interview.
2 weeks before the graduation, they took my daughter's photograph, and on social media and on posters around the campus, they put her name, her visage, and underneath, "This is the face of white supremacy." Why? Because she was part of the Churchill Institute, because she was my daughter, despite the fact that this girl had helped ethnic women, minority women, when she was doing research projects on those who had been abused financially by their partners, their husbands. So when it came to her graduation, I was very, very trepidatious, Peter. I didn't want to cause a scene. I knew there would be many parents there who were probably not Trump supporters. So when I arrived on that sunny day, unusually sunny day in Connecticut, to the quad, I didn't sit with my family. I sat under an oak tree so there wouldn't be any distractions from what should have been my daughter's celebration. And it was all fine until after the ceremony. My daughter received her diploma, the caps were thrown in the air, and I decided to make my way back to my wife, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my daughter. And in the throng, I was separated from everyone. A little slip of a girl walked up to me, and this is the meat of the opening of The War for America's Soul. A little girl walked straight up to me, maybe 19 years old, maybe 85 pounds dripping wet, and she looked me in the eye, and she said, "Are you Sebastian Gorka? Are you the Sebastian Gorka that worked for Donald Trump in the White House?" Naive old me smiled, extended my hand, and said, "Yes, that's me." And here I have to edit things. Well, in that case, F you, you effing Nazi. Now, I'd been through the mill in the White House, but I'd never had somebody who was living in the most successful, powerful, freest nation in the world do that to me in front of hundreds of witnesses. Once I found my composure, I said, I'm not going to let this lie. Not with my family background. So I followed this little girl back to her family. Her mother, I think, her grandmother probably was standing there. And I looked her in the face and I said, "Who the hell do you think you are? My parents as children suffered under Nazi occupation in Central Europe. After that, my father, under communist dictatorship, was arrested and tortured and imprisoned. Who the hell do you think you are to call me a Nazi?" The girl's mother was clearly shocked, her jaw dropped, and she said, "Did you really say that to this man?" And this is why I wrote The War for America's Soul, Peter. Little girl, American, born and bred, living in the freest nation in the world, with a rictus-like grin from the Joker in Batman, looked at her mother and me and said, "Yes, I did." That's frightening. It's frightening that according to the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation in their latest poll, 72% of American millennials, Peter, would like to live in a communist or socialist country. This after the fact that we know, if you read the Black Book of Communism, at least 100 million human beings were exterminated in the name of Karl Marx and his communist ideology. So I spent more than 20 years in the national security domain. I specialized in non-state actors, irregular warfare, and the strategy of jihadists, counterterrorism. And now, the last 3 years have been a Damascene moment for me. The scales have fallen from my eyes. And I've realized that perhaps the greatest threat we face is the falsification of history and the indoctrination of a whole generation of Americans.
To watch the rest of this program, visit our website, booktv.org, and click on the In Depth tab, or search for Sebastian Gorka using the box at the top of the page.